Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So, if you're watching this video, you probably already know the lore inside and out. But today our mission is to crack open this massive stack of translated production notes and behind-the-scenes texts.
Right, the stuff that really breaks down the hidden history of Dragon Ball. Because, the contrast between what the creator originally intended and what we actually got is just wild.
Oh, totally. We think of it as this epic martial arts phenomenon, but the foundation is literally just slapstick comedy, animation budget hacks, and fans totally hijacking the narrative.
Exactly. Akira Toriyama really wasn't aiming to create this, brooding action series. At his core, he was just a gag manga artist.
Which makes so much sense when you actually look at the DNA of the early arcs. You have these intense world-ending stakes, but they're constantly undercut by, absurd faces and bizarre physical comedy.
Yeah, even Master Roshi is a great example of that. He's this legendary martial arts grandmaster, but he's also just a walking punchline.
Right. It's basically Toriyama smuggling his favorite comedy genre into this high-stakes action shell.
He was definitely compromising on the tone, yeah. But he also had to compromise on the actual physical designs of the characters, mainly because of the harsh realities of 1980s cell animation.
Wait, you're talking about Krillin, right? The lack of hair.
Yes, exactly. Because frame-by-frame animation back then meant every single spike, every shadow, every strand of hair had to be drawn and colored by hand.
Oh, wow. Thousands of times.
Thousands of times. It was incredibly expensive, and it just ate up so many production hours. So shaving Krillin's head wasn't like some deep monastic character choice.
It was just a literal financial necessity to keep the studio on budget.
Exactly. Just accountants sweating over animation cells.
That is so funny. And it wasn't just the designs.
Right.
The lore itself was a massive shortcut.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
He basically stripped the chassis off the ancient Chinese novel Journey to the West.
Right. He takes Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, files off the serial numbers, and just gives us Goku.
Yeah, he keeps the monkey tail, the flying nimbus, the name, but just transplants it all into a sci-fi setting, which is a brilliant way to establish a massive world quickly without having to, invent a mythos from scratch.
So he basically ports that ancient mythological framework over so he can skip the world building and just focus on character dynamics and jokes.
Exactly.
Okay, so he's compromising his comedy for action, hacking his designs to save money, remixing public domain texts.
Oh.
But the biggest compromise came from outside the studio entirely, right?
Yeah.
Like the weekly readers.
Oh, yeah. The Japanese manga serialization process is notoriously brutal. You have these weekly reader polls that act as a real-time feedback loop for the publisher.
And if a character ranks high, the editors mandate they stay. But if they drop, they're just gone.
Right, which completely explains the Vegeta pivot.
Yeah, because if you read his initial introduction, he was undeniably written to be a one-and-done villain for the Saiyan saga. Arrive, cause havoc, get defeated, move on.
But the fan polling for Vegeta was just off the charts. So Toriyama's hand was forced by the editorial team. He couldn't kill off the most popular character in the magazine.
So he has to frantically reverse engineer this arrogant space prince into Goku's permanent reluctant rival.
Yeah, and Piccolo went through the exact same real-time revision. He morphed from a pure demon king to the surrogate father figure purely because the audience demanded he stick around.
It's like a jazz band where the audience is just shouting out the chords mid-song and the musicians just have to play them and pretend it was the master plan all along.
That is exactly what it felt like.
Which raises this wild philosophical question, right? If the fans essentially force the creator to spare Vegeta and rewrite the entire narrative trajectory, who really owns the story at that point? The artist or the audience?
Well, that tension fundamentally altered the DNA of the franchise. Because to keep that demanding audience hooked week after week, the stakes had to just keep escalating continuously.
Right, the power ceilings just keep shattering.
Yeah, and the tone shifted to match that intensity. It nearly crossed into pure psychological horror at certain points.
Oh, like the original concept for the Super Saiyan transformation. That is the best example of this.
Exactly, because we know it today as this triumphant, glowing power-up.
Right, but the production notes reveal Toriyama initially designed it as this terrifying, uncontrollable state, born out of the raw grief and rage of losing Krillin. Goku was supposed to completely lose his humanity.
Yeah, he was supposed to become a creature of sheer chaos, but leaning into that horror aspect would have drastically changed Goku's legacy.
Let me guess, the feedback loop struck again.
You guessed it. Editorial pressure and the need for a highly marketable, heroic climax steered the design right back toward the golden, disciplined warrior we recognize today.
Wow. So what does this all mean for you watching? It completely shatters the illusion of the infallible creator, right?
Totally. Dragon Ball is not some perfectly pre-planned masterclass in storytelling.
No, it's a brilliant, messy collision of a comedy-loving artist, tight budgets, and this fiercely demanding fan base that's just dictating the plot in real time.
But honestly, surviving that chaotic week-to-week production environment and still managing to create a global, cohesive phenomenon, that is an incredible feat.
It really is. Which leaves you with something to think about today. If weekly reader polls and animation budgets completely change the destiny of a pop culture juggernaut like Dragon Ball,
Right.
how many of your other favorite iconic storylines were actually just last-minute panic pivots to keep the audience happy?